For years now, every Saturday at 4 o'clock, the candle maker had been making the journey from his shop to the church across the square. Because God had been so good to him and blessed his home and his work, he showed his gratitude by giving his finest candles to shine upon the altar as an offering to God.
Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Whenever I read these words of Jesus, I think of one of our own people, our friend the candle maker. Like a good steward, shows his love for God by giving his most beautiful candles to light the cross upon our altar. I pray that all of us will always give in this same spirit, to show our love for the Father, who blessed us with a Christ child.
The family was up early next morning, for a busy week lay ahead. The candle maker had to deliver quantities of Christmas candles of all shapes and sizes to the outlying farms and villages.
Hurry up, son.
Coming, Father.
Now. I'm not going away forever. I'll be back on Christmas Eve, in time for service. Look after your mother, son. And there are plenty of candles to be made.
Don't worry, Father.
Don't forget, this week, I'm leaving you to make the second altar candle. I have made only one. And remember, both must be taken over to church by 4 o'clock Saturday.
Yes, Father.
Goodbye now.
Goodbye. Bye, Father.
With his father away and his mother extra busy getting ready for Christmas, young Tom was in charge of the workshop, with the task of turning out many candles a day. And then there was the altar candle for the Christmas Eve service on Saturday. On that Christmas Eve long ago, the church was made beautiful by the loving work of loving hands, just as churches are today. Then, as now, there was a manger where boys and girls would bring the white Christmas offering for the children's home.
washed up for supper. Your father will be home soon. Tommy, you forgot. Run over quickly now. And be careful you don't drop them.
I'm sorry I was late for the candles, Pastor.
Never mind. You did do it. And just in time, too. Look who's coming.
Well, son, did you make the church candle?
Yes, Father.
Each member of the family had his own sad thoughts that night.
To think that a son of mine should make such a candle, a worthless candle that won't shine, and after all these years.
Young Tom knew what his parents were thinking, that he had failed them, and that he had failed God.
I'm in such trouble. I have to make the candle all over. I wish I could be made over as easily as the candle. It won't be easy. Jesus will help.
And so it was, many years ago, that the candlemaker's son learned the meaning of Christian stewardship, just as we must learn it today.
Littlest camel knelt. Once upon a long, long time ago, in a far-off country, there lived a very little camel who was woolly in spots and curious all over. And the littlest camel's curiosity concerned kings. This small one, above all else, wanted to see a king. Cappy and Mogo, the bigger and the biggest camel, boasted often and loudly of carrying gold and precious jewels to kings' palaces. But the littlest camel carried only everyday things to everyday people, and he longed, oh so very much, to carry wondrous gifts to a king. Cappy and Mogo had that very night returned from seeing a king, none other than King Herod. But Mogo was very tired and also very cross. So the littlest camel just munched and listened while Mogo complained that the hay was tasteless and the stable was very uncomfortable after the delicious food they had been given in the grand palace stables they had visited. Mogo almost bit the littlest camel's head off when he questioned him. But the littlest camel understood and was very sorry that Cappy and Mogo were so tired. But he also thought it rather silly for a great big camel to be so grouchy. Just then, Balthazar, their master, came into the stable with two other wise men, Melchior and Gaspar. Their servants began loading great treasures on the bigger and biggest camels. They were to start at once on a long journey to Bethlehem with gifts for a very great king. And then, mind you, when the three wise men were ready to leave, Cappy and Mogo were too tired even to go see another king. But the littlest camel, he was not tired. If they would ask him, he would go. And would you believe it? They did ask him to go. Master Balthazar said that because the big camels were so tired, he would have to take the littlest camel too, and that they would have to leave immediately while they could still see the star that would guide them. My gracious goodness. Just think how wonderful it would be. Soon he would be treated as royalty, and he could eat sweet, sweet hay and sleep on the soft, soft straw in the palace stables. And he could not help thinking that maybe a great king, robed in silks and satins, with a golden crown upon his head, might pass real close to him. There would be lovely, soft music everywhere. He knew, for he had heard Cappy and Mogo talking about the kings and their palaces. At long last, everything was ready. The gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and precious jewels were loaded on his willing little woolly back, and they started out through the gate of the city on their journey to far-off Bethlehem. He heard them say again as they started forth that a star of all things would guide them. He liked stars, but he thought it very foolish that a star could guide anyone anywhere, much less to a king. Just then he saw the star. A brighter and lovelier star than the littlest camel had ever beheld, and it shone ahead, leading the way. Around them the air was so soft and warm, and the littlest camel heard a light rustling of wings, as if many, many birds were close above them, or perhaps wings of angels. But as they journeyed on, the littlest camel learned that even precious burdens can become awfully heavy, though he didn't complain. He just followed the shining, silvery star bearing his load, importantly. After many, many miles, it seemed that they were not getting any closer at all, and the littlest camel was, oh, so very tired. As they plodded along, he remembered the palace the big camels had told him about, the great marble palace with the shining golden door. And there, Sweet music would be everywhere, and great sparkling jewels, and he would see a king. Finally, they came to Bethlehem. But now the star was shining down upon a stable, a plain, everyday stable, such as the littlest camel had seen many, many times at home.